Oh, it's not that starting yet.
Is likely to file an antitrust lawsuit to block Microsoft's 69. Good one, Phil. Yeah, good one. $1 billion takeover of video game giant Activision Blizzard per 3 people with knowledge on the matter. This would mean the FTC's, this would be the largest, FTC's biggest move yet under Lena Khan to rein in the power of the world's largest tech companies. It would also be a major black mark for Microsoft, which has positioned itself as a white knight of sorts on antitrust issues in tech. So Microsoft is going to pick up Activision Blizzard. I find it to be unlikely this will happen. And I find it to be likely that they will acquire Activision Blizzard. I think it'll happen. To be honest, that's kind of bullshit. Where's the capitalism? It's really hypocritical of governments to do this kind of stuff. Here, I want to do something and explain why these things are important, okay? How many, I'm going to ask you, Ectofeel, how many ISPs do you have where you live? How many ISPs do you have? Internet service providers. How many different places can you get the internet from? So you say you have 2 main ISPs. How would you feel if the bigger of the 2 ISPs bought the smaller one and then they raised your rates by $40 a month? That would suck, LOL. It sure would. And that's why we have this antitrust shit. Monopolies are not good for any average citizen. They are unhealthy for capitalism. They actively are, they are subverting capitalism by trying to control the market, so they do not have to operate in a free market. Operating in a free market is more expensive. You have to pay for more advertising. You have to pay for better quality products. You have to charge less. This is a good thing that this function exists. Now, is it a good thing that the FTC could be applying this function to Microsoft acquiring Activision? That's 2 different things. But on a fundamental level, the function is a good thing and it's good for the people.
Never dull.
Anyway, so what do I think? I think that they're probably going to let this go through. I don't think there's going to be a lot of bullshit about it. I feel like there are many different companies that provide services like what Microsoft provides and what Activision provides with their gaming stuff. It's my mouth. I do not think that this is going to happen. I feel it's very unlikely. And in the times that things were blocked in the past, there was only like maybe 2 or 3 major players in a space, and then one of the biggest ones buys the second biggest one or the third biggest one, and now there's only 1 or 2. So it seems unlikely that this will happen given how many other competitors there are in the video game, like, games as a service space. But, you know, we'll have to wait and see. But let's see what people say. FTC declined to comment. Central to the FTC's concerns is whether acquiring Activision will give Microsoft an unfair boost in the video game market. Microsoft's Xbox is number 3 to the industry-leading Sony Entertainment System and its PlayStation console. Sony, however, has emerged as the deal's primary opponent, telling the FTC and regulators in other countries that if Microsoft made hit games like Call of Duty exclusive to its platforms, Sony would be significantly disadvantaged. I mean, that's true.
Cringe itself to death. This
like,
dude,
they're right.
Revoking its
They're
law.
absolutely right. Yes. But like, how is Microsoft not disadvantaged whenever they make God of War exclusive or Demon Souls exclusive to PS5? Many of these games are only on one console. Like, I don't like this at all. I think this is silly. Final Fantasy, yeah, exactly. Or all the Bungie shit. Yeah, Sony's a bunch of pussies. They're not a bunch of pussies. No. The thing is, Sony is just simply doing this because it's an advantage that a competitor can have. Sony probably doesn't even believe a lot of the stuff they're saying. They're just saying this because it gives them an advantage in the space. That's all. This isn't ideological. This is just purely a logistical advantage. Phil Spencer already told Sony that he won't make Call of Duty exclusive too. Yeah, but they could always change their mind. That's not like it's not a binding agreement that Phil Spencer said this would happen. Like, he didn't sign a contract. Like, there could be other games in the future, etc. Like, I think overall, video games being exclusive to consoles is simply not something that is a good thing. Also, I think that exclusive to its platforms, one of the platforms that Microsoft publishes on is the PC. So I think Sony is mainly worried about not being able to sell PlayStations. And my honest opinion about this is that maybe if you're not able to function well and make money with the consoles in the way that they are now, maybe they don't deserve to exist. Maybe let the free market do what it does and let consoles that are basically sold as loss leaders to sell video games to make you buy the consoles, maybe stop doing this. Stop trying to make the government create a fucking mandate that your outdated business model is kept alive through life support through government fucking regulation. It's ridiculous. I only bought PS5 for exclusive. Yes, it's fucking ridiculous. Like, at a certain point, people move on. You talk about free market, the free market moves on. Maybe this is what's happening. In general, I've always had a lot of trust for Sony after what they did following Microsoft trying to make the Xbox One extremely consumer unfriendly. Like, some examples of this are making sure that it's always connected to the internet, making sure that there's a mandatory webcam connected to it, and not allowing you to resell games. And Sony came back and they said, you know what? We're not going to do any of that stuff. And it put Microsoft at such a massive disadvantage in the market that Microsoft had to walk back everything they did. So I actually have a lot of respect for Sony. I'm not surprised they're doing this, but at the same time, maybe your business model is outdated. Maybe you don't need the government to keep it on life support through making the consumers pay more money for no reason.
God has given this to us. Your home, your shelter, everything we have. So many things we just take for granted. Our food. You go over to a third world country, over to Africa, and you see people, you see little kids starving for food. And this Thursday, this Thanksgiving Day, most everybody in here will have an abundance of food.
Competition between companies is generally better for consumers.
All right.
And,
let me see if I can find a quest that's yellow.
About having to compete.
It doesn't have a shit drop rate like this one.
Spirits be with
What about
you,
all the
man.
shit Sony's done recently? I don't have a list of every single action Sony's taken. I'm just saying that
If it wasn't green, I would take
have a
it.
generally favorable opinion of them.
Or I wouldn't have to
Sony's buying up businesses.
abandon
overall,
it
just
to
tons of
begin
smaller
with.
ones to not draw attention. Yeah, every company wants to have a monopoly.
Hey there.
Just think about it logically. Like, Microsoft's repeatedly promised to keep Call of Duty available on Sony's PlayStation. Furthermore, the game is not a must-have as Sony says it is. Additionally, Microsoft notes is the game. I mean, again, like, I feel like they're just trying to keep an outdated business model of consoles on life support. Like, am I crazy about this?
Later.
Because like the more they're talking about the reason why they're doing this,
Well, I might as well
that's just
take
what
this
it seems
one.
like to me. Let's see here. To a lesser extent, Google is also an opponent of the deal. According to two of the people of knowledge of the matter, the company has argued that Microsoft has purposely degraded the quality of its Game Pass subscription service when used with Google's Chrome operating system, and owning Activision would further incentivize them to do so, ultimately steering hardware sales towards Microsoft and away from Google, the people said. Google is a minor player in the gaming industry and winding down its own gaming service, Stadia. Yeah, Stadia didn't work. However, it's under antitrust scrutiny around the world for conduct in the gaming market. It's unlikely to be a sympathetic opponent. Fortnite maker Epic Games currently suing Google, arguing that it's illegally blocking Fortnite from its app mobile store. As part of the case, Epic recently accused Google of paying Activision $360 million to not offer a competing app store on Android phones. Yeah, I actually really don't like this whole app store thing and how the app stores have so much power. I find this to be extremely problematic. It's too much centralized power among too few people with no real incentives to compete against each other. I do not like the Epic Game Store, or sorry, the iPhone Store or the Google Play Store, whatever the fuck it is. Blame Steam. Yeah, Steam's kind of the same thing. But yeah, I wish that everything that you did wasn't just all on one place. That's what capitalism always leads to, though. Well, that's why you have governmental regulatory agencies to prevent that from happening. Yes, of course you're right. Wasn't Steam getting sued for something similar? I think that it was, yeah, I remember reading about this lawsuit with like Epic accusing Google of paying Activision to not have this. Google spokesperson declined to contact, no surprise. FTC concerns, however, seem to be on Call of Duty, and investigators are trying to determine how Microsoft can leverage future unannounced titles to boost its gaming business. Of course, that's what's going to happen. Activision also disputes Epic's allegations. Epic's allegations are nonsense. We can confirm that Google never asked us, pressured us, or made us agree to not compete with Google Play. We've already submitted documents and testimony to prove this. I mean, I don't know really whether I believe that or not. It's hard to say. Steam has way more competition than Apple or Google. If you're on Android, you have to use Google Play. If you're on iPhone, you have to use Apple Store. With PC, you have to have way more options than Steam. Yeah, I feel like that's unfair. Like, basically, this is generally my opinion on companies and the way that they operate. Is that every single company that operates in our economy only exists because the government protects it. If the government did not protect the economy, did not protect this company, people would go into the company building, burn it down, kill everybody inside, and steal all of their stuff. So these companies exist because the government allows them to exist. And if the government did not protect them, they would be gone. So I think in that same vein, every company has to exist for the betterment of the population. And if there is a business model, if there is a type of product, if there is a way of doing business that is unhealthy or bad for the people, then it should not be allowed to exist. That's the reason why. Yes. And so I do think that these types of things should be regulated, because these things are unhealthy for the people. Idealist much? Well, it's not really that much of an idealist viewpoint. I think this is generally what happens. If it was that easy? Well, it's not that easy. That's why we're reading articles about how complicated it is. Nobody said it was easy. Nobody implied it was easy. Super said the day companies become more powerful than the government. Yeah, you don't want that to happen. How about companies that are supported to prevent other bigger companies that can support themselves by becoming monopolies and controlling entire markets? Well, obviously that's bad. But what I'm saying here is this. I'm saying that I do not find it a good thing that you can only use the Android store if you're on an Android, and you can only use the iPhone store if you're on an iPhone. I think that this monopoly is not healthy for consumers. It gives the people that have ownership over these markets too much power. And at the end of the day, it's bad for the people. So it shouldn't exist. That's all there is. I do think it's and I think it's more than advantageous for Activision if Microsoft blocks it. I think it would be very good in general. So I hope it does happen. That's really what I think.
Can't go anywhere around here without shit happening.
Somebody tell me why
I'm sold.
this was never in any of Meta's presentations. How is me putting a phone camera in the Quest Pro headset the most compelling demo of VR I've seen in like the last 5 years? But I have some hot takes on this whole metaverse thing that I kept to myself for a little while, but I think it's finally time to share them, so buckle up.
I'm really glad that somebody's like, because I'm pretty sure I know the kind of stuff he's gonna say. This guy's pretty smart. I like him, and so like obviously he's probably gonna say a lot of the same stuff that I think, you know, of course. And it's like, I think that for like a year, nobody criticized like NFTs, metaverse, or like crypto stuff at all. And I'm so glad that like now this year, it's all crashing down and people are being forced into seeing the reality. It's great.
Let's get into it. So Meta's stock is down over 60% this year. Facebook's growth has flattened. CEO Mark Zuckerberg has doubled down on this commitment to the whole metaverse thing, which they've...
By the way, I still think is a huge mega dick mode. Like, this is a mega dick move for Mark to do. To just say, fuck everybody, I know I'm right, it's my fucking company, and a captain is gonna go down with his ship. Yeah, I'm impressed, man. Very few people have the balls to do that.
Continued to pour tons and tons of money into. It's like, what is going on here? But let's just go back and start with some definitions. VR is virtual reality, which is, you know, putting the headset on and being completely immersed in a new virtual world. Yep. AR is augmented reality, which is overlaying virtual things on top of the real world. I'm going to use those a lot in this video. Those two things, though, are both particularly hard to demo. You kind of have to try it and use it to actually understand it and appreciate it. So I know there's a lot of curiosity about VR, especially lately, and it can be kind of hard to tell if it's like just another trend in tech, like 3D TVs, whatever happened to those, or if it's actually the future that we'll all be living in, like Ready Player One, or maybe more like Wally. Hard to tell. Either way.
Probably more like Wally. And yeah, I think so. Yeah, it will be. It's just a matter of when. I think the question is this happening in the next 5 years or the next 50? That's really the question that people have. I think that VR is not really going to take off until they can make it to where you don't have to move around. Like, I feel like that's a huge reason why people don't do VR. Like, I would do VR if I didn't have to move around. I don't want to move around. Like, I don't want to move my hands around. Like, I just want to sit there and just have it do what I want. I could dream.
There's basically one
That's when it'll pop
visible
off.
mega company that's clearly pushing all their chips in on this definitely being our future.
Yes.
And that's Meta, formerly known as Facebook, with their CEO, this guy right here. And he explained to me many times that they really believe in this metaverse thing. And he showed me all this Quest Pro stuff right before it was announced on stage, so I got to form my opinions on it before the slightly more cringeworthy presentation version we've all seen. The metaverse might have a pretty terrible reputation already, but let's try to take a step back, look at it objectively like a piece of tech, shall we?
Hey, woman, if you can hear me, come in
I
here.
feel like people obviously like the idea of a metaverse. Or MMOs wouldn't be popular. MMOs are metaverses. So, like, yeah, of course.
So, like I said, VR is one of those things you kind of have to try to understand and appreciate, but also the spectrum of how much people care about the metaverse is hilarious. Like, all the way from not caring at all and never having tried VR in their life, all the way to, like, serious believers, like companies hiring a chief metaverse officer and metaverse being in every headline, and just like a weird obsession.
I feel like having a chief metaverse officer is a good way to get your stupid cousin a job. It's like, we can't have him in charge of the
Oh,
finance.
get fucked.
Yeah, we'll put Timmy. Let's have Timmy on the metaverse. He's gonna be the metaverse guy, and that's like the exact thing to have in a company. You don't really have to. It's great.
With it. So it can be
I'm
kind of hard to
tired of
give a
waiting.
single answer to this, but I actually think it's pretty simple. The internet, as we have it right now, is mostly controlled by two things: ads and devices. So if you control the ads, then you're the
And
one
the
connecting
Illuminati,
people to
yeah.
the things that they buy. That's basically what Google does. Like, Google's job is to know everything they possibly can about people and then show them ads for things, not just on Google search results, but all over the internet with Google AdWords. Pretty much every company in the world who does online advertising pays Google to do it for them. So for as much as we
That's true. Google AdWords and Google AdSense is the best analytical program that at least is publicly available. And it's not even remotely close. Like, compare Google ads and YouTube ads to Twitch ads. It's insane. Yeah, it was ahead of YouTube, it was ahead of Twitch and Amazon 15 years ago. Actually, it's better. Yeah.
We'll talk about like the Pixel and Google Chrome and Android on this channel. Google is at its core an ads business. And then if you control the devices, then you very much have control over what makes it to people's eyeballs. Facebook has wanted to make a popular device, but they don't make one. Trust me, they've tried. But now, in 2022, as popular as Facebook is, they have clearly saturated the market. They've peaked. They've begun their inevitable very slowly. So they've made billions of dollars. But now, with the iPhone adding that app track button, that took a multi-billion-dollar chunk out of Facebook's ads business. Didn't really hurt Google as much because people still go to google.com and type in a box they're looking for. So bottom line is Facebook is accepting that L. You know, they dominated the early parts of the internet, and that was great, but now the slow decline has begun, and they're moving on to the next big thing.
Right. I think that's the case. And Facebook wasn't like about how Facebook is declining. And I think it's view a stagnation in growth as a decline. But the fact is that
Like, there's over 1 billion people that have used Facebook. It's like at a certain point, everybody that knows about Facebook is either going to use it or not. Facebook is still absolutely fucking massive compared to every single other social media platform.
And if you could look all around at all the technologies that could maybe be the next big thing, that one thing that keeps bubbling back up to the surface has been VR and AR. And so Facebook, Meta, can control as much of this VR future as possible, the software, the hardware, the ads, the things that make it to people's eyeballs. Then they will regain the control and the money that they're after. So
exactly. No, he's totally right about this. He's 100% fucking right about this. Like, remember what I was saying? How, like, the companies wanted to have VR so they can be God? Because, like, there's no rules in VR or their own metaverse. Because they can do whatever they want. Yeah, of course. That's why these companies want to have metaverse, because it gives them total fucking control over everything that your eyeballs will be obsolete soon. There you go.
Them rebranding
They won't show
themselves
you
to
ads, yeah.
Meta and pouring billions and billions of dollars into that exact
They
mission.
want to be God.
Okay, so this might be kind of interesting, but the Meta Quest Pro, this headset, is $1,500, and I'll explain the thinking behind that in a second, but
That's a lot of money.
it is actually pretty good. It's a pretty good, technologically speaking, a pretty good. It is
The
much
truth is, like, obviously VR headsets are still in the early adopter innovator phase, where you are paying to subsidize the research in buying them. Like, it's not at the point now where, like, these things are basically being sold at the cost of the product, you know, the product resources. Obviously, it's going to take a while for them to get there. They're still too bulky? Yeah, I think so.
more comfortable than a lot of others I've tried, so they've split the components now between the displays and lenses in the front, and speakers and buttons through the middle, and then the battery at the back. It is lighter than it looks, but I think it's more about the balance and the weight. Here you can see, feels like the balance point is right in the middle there, which is better. But then you put it on and you look like this. Here you go. Boom. And without the blockers on the side, there is a little bit of a gap, and you do have peripheral vision light coming in from the side.
Yeah, I thought that was weird too. I remember whenever he showed the one where he, like, Mark Zuckerberg was right there behind him, looking at him doing it. I thought that was weird too.
That's
How do you have immersion with that?
Sides and not the top. Inside, there's a custom Snapdragon X02 Plus processor, 256 storage, 12 gigs of RAM, and then a slimmer set of displays and lenses. And then the screens inside are giving you 1920 by 1800 per eye at up to 90 FPS. And it can do this decent full-color pass-through with the 10 sensors and cameras scattered on the outside. It's not the best pass-through I've ever seen, but it does work, and it lets you feel like you're in a normal environment.
Yeah.
Plus, there's these new Touch Pro controllers, which have cameras and sensors of their own, and they all charge on a single dock through some pins, which you'll be doing often because, sadly, the headset does just have like a 1.5 hour battery life when unplugged. But then there's also...
So we going back to the old Sega Game Gear.
Yep.
At least we don't need 6 fucking AA batteries for this. There's just a charging station.
a suite of sensors on the inside facing your eyes, facing your face, for face tracking. Okay, right now I'm looking at an alien face, but a little bit more interesting than that is the alien face is in real time showing what the headset sees my face doing, and so every expression that I make, every little facial movement, the eye movements, it's kind of a lot of the little things too, like the little muscles on your face that move when you talk and you make
I think it's also important to contextualize this, that this technology is very clearly rudimentary.
So who am I trying to kill here?
This is not a final product of technology. Whenever we look at
I don't know
this
if it's the same
in
guy
20
that's up
years,
here or
it
not.
will not look like this.
Either
So
way.
I think that really the impressive part about this is the fact that it's possible and the development of it, not necessarily the quality of it at this point.
If I was in a virtual world and trying to convey emotions to another person, this headset, but at the end of the day, it still is a pretty chunky, it's a pretty big headset. It doesn't fold down, so if you want to travel with it, you need like a big bag or a backpack. This version might not be tempting to you. Zuckerberg keeps telling me, people buy a new $2,000 machine as their desktop computer all the time, and this is maybe a replacement for that someday. But
I don't think that they spend $2,000 on it, and I think that's not really as common as you might imagine. There are a lot of people that do that, but I don't think that it's that large. I think most people that are computer enthusiasts also, like, you use a computer for a lot of other things. It's kind of like, selling racetracks, or like having like a racetrack place and saying, oh, well, people
Nothing
buy
will
race
ever
cars all the
substitute a
time
PC.
because they buy cars all the time. Well, it's like, not really, because you're driving your car around to go to work, to go to Taco Bell, to go to your friend's house.
Because PC will always be
So, like, computers have like so
just
many
more
uses
cost effective.
that it does justify the price of them. And so, unless the
And it will pretty much always have more functions.
purposes and uses, then it's not really going to matter.
Like a
It's kind of
smartphone
like
can't do,
phones, right? I
like,
remember whenever the
a
iPhone
tenth
came
of the
out,
shit that a
iPhone
PC
was, like,
can.
ridiculously fucking expensive whenever it came out. It was like $700 or something like this. I don't remember it exactly though. I could be wrong.
Where the
about
fuck
number,
did
but it was
everybody
a lot.
go?
And people were like, well, why the fuck would I spend this much money on a phone whenever I can get a fucking, one of these random ass like flip phones for $80, $150? And the value proposition wasn't really in people's minds yet at the time that the phone would serve as more than just a phone. Because whenever you have a smartphone nowadays, like you guys probably use your smartphone to check the email, you use it to check, watch YouTube videos, to maybe do work online, to take pictures. Like, smartphones have so many different functionalities. Like, for maps, like, I mean, that's a huge thing, right? Like, if I want to go somewhere, I just put it on Google Maps. There it is. It's done. And, to drive somewhere. So, I think that expanding the scope of these things is also really important, because I do think that as technology increases, the price of these headsets will probably not go down for the very foreseeable future. Because while, yes, obviously the technology will become less early adopter, like, focused, the technology quality will continue increasing in the way that it's, like, formatted and, like, given to you. And in doing that, the price will probably continue. Like, stay about the same. Like, $50 for, like,
this might not be tempting to you. Theoretically, in a couple of years, a new version
No,
of it
that's
is
not the
much,
right
much
person,
smaller,
but
closer
that's
to, like,
fine.
a regular pair of glasses. And then even further down the road, another version is even smaller, maybe lightweight, like glasses. And then eventually, it's an incredible, actually portable piece of tech. And so, theoretically, if you pour enough money and talent into something, it can become amazing.
No, and as I said, I really respect, the Mark Zuckerberg approach to, I know that all of the investors are wrong. Everybody is wrong except for me, and I'm going to put all of my money behind it. I can respect that so much.
I need more mana.
Which leads me to this is the real question. Every time I see a new VR headset pop up, whether it's this Pro headset or the Meta Quest Pro or anything like that, the question is always like, is this VR thing really actually going to be the future? Like, it's cool with tech and it works and everything, but are we actually going to be spending meaningful time in VR at some point? And the answer, of course, depends on who you ask, obviously.
I think the answer will be yes.
No, you don't. Shut up.
It's
You don't need more of anything.
It's incomprehensible what that yes looks like, right? It's the same as, like, if you were to ask somebody, in 1960, would, in 50 years, would everybody be in computers? And they said yes. And, like, if you ask them how would that work, the way that they would have explained it in 1960 is probably not the way that it works right now. You see what I'm saying? Like, I think that's the destination, but I don't know how we get there or what it looks like.
Like, I've noticed the younger the person is that you talk to, the more likely they are to want to give VR a chance and try it more often. But if you ask Meta, if you ask
not my dad is like fucking
so how's it going? Like, so am I gonna be able to go back to Vietnam? Like, what is this? Like, I wanna, like, we've got to get this shit going pretty soon here. You know, I want to be able to use this and use this VR, be able to do whatever the hell I want before I get too fucking old. So yeah, it's not only young people.
Ask anyone in leadership at Meta, the answer is yes, absolutely, 100%. This is the future that we are all going to be living in, using VR all the time. Metaverse for sure. Now, of course, they have to believe in that because the whole company is a huge ship barreling in that exact direction.
Of course.
But also watching the presentation of everything at the Meta Connect keynote, as miserable and awkward as it was, the more you watch, the more it kind of crystallizes. Basically, step one, think of all the things people normally do on the internet. Step two, make those things.
I feel so bad because it's like, even if he does something normal, people are gonna be like, wow, this is what would happen if you taught a wizard how to drink a soda. It's like everybody's just already decided that Mark Zuckerberg is probably a robot, and he's not a real person. Yeah, it's like, yeah, dude, Zuckerberg's so weird. I don't know if he's so weird. I actually have no idea. I remember the reason why I don't think that he's as weird as people think he is in one of the leaked conversation, he called all of the people who were using, what do you call it, who were using Facebook fucking idiots for giving him all of their information. And I feel like a robot wouldn't say that. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, he called it. Yeah, he said his own users were fucking idiots, and he's right. You know, that's the best part about it.
In VR, and then pour tons of money into them, and then that's kind of the whole plan. If you get the time and you actually get to watch through that presentation, it happens over and over again. Where basically they realize.
As I've said, I really think that porn is going to be the innovator for VR. Why have we received so many different like quality options for video? Mainly because of porn. If you show somebody realistic fucking look how many people are using. All right. So let's go ahead and let's do something here. All right. Let's go ahead and look. This is a graph, a pie graph of the different reasons people use AI. Okay. So. That's about where we're at.
Can you open the window too when you come back?
Okay.
Or vice versa?
Think about how much innovation and how much AI art has grown in the last
I just got done eating her pussy, that's why she's extra touchy and feely. Nothing, just telling Chad I just got done eating her pussy and that's why you're all touchy and feely.
It has changed faster than probably anything
Oh yeah, you never know, they might be wondering. People wonder random things. Like who's that beautiful woman all up on the great one? My wife. Duh.
That's all. That's all it's going to take. That is what will drive innovation in VR.
That people do certain things in real life, and then they want to bring that thing into VR. Oh, you'd like to do this? Here's a VR version. Oh, you do this other thing? Here's a VR version. Over and over again. And ideally, for them anyway, convincing people to use the VR version just will become a matter of making the VR version really, really good.
Yeah.
Hopefully better than the real life version. And that's where I think my hot take comes in, which is that some of these VR applications are actually scary good and starting to look better than the non-VR version. And for Meta, if they can get enough of these things to be real, then they'll be making this...
Well, they can absolutely make it real. Like, they can make it to where it's like you go to Chuck E. Cheese and the year is 1995.
and everybody's sitting there
trying to find that
wearing
shoe brand
fucking,
I saw.
Dallas Cowboys, Super Bowl winner
It's not on
hoodies
here,
and
though.
T-shirts, and
Unless
everybody
it's
wants
fun.
to play the new Jurassic Park game. So VR will always be able to outperform real life because real life can only be extemporaneous.
Are you talking about the one that came
It
and
can
died
only be in the
came
here
back?
and now. Whereas VR
No.
can exist at any point.
They don't
in
even
time.
have SAS on here. Yeah, fuck
Metaverse
this site.
thing happen.
Gretchen, stop trying to make
Metaverse.
happen. It's not going to happen.
Okay, so some are easier than others. Right? Gaming, yeah, we've got some good games already in VR. Now we got to work on getting more, like a better variety of games, better
Is it still
depth,
lit?
etc.,
Yeah.
more immersion, and pouring money into this ecosystem will entice developers to better
What combination of clothes do you want?
Give me a t-shirt and shorts tomorrow.
Yeah, it's just a gimmick.
What's tomorrow? Friday?
Yeah.
Which is awesome. But there's more to life than just games.
We'll just
What's
go
the
back
people
to
doing
that
in
until it
2022?
starts
Zoom
snowing
calls?
again.
Okay, perfect. Yes, they've
Let's
got
start
Zoom
snowing
calls,
next week.
but better. They've built an entire virtual meeting room experience where you can do video conferencing in VR. So, if some of your friends or coworkers don't have VR headsets, that's
I might actually ride my bike to
video
work
feed in the
on
metaverse. But now with
Saturday.
a bunch of people in meetings, you can talk to the people around you. You can do breakout meeting rooms instantly, really good immersive presentations, etc. Now, currently, as you can tell, these are all using these avatars. And these, I think, are bad. They're pretty cringy. I mean, you can customize them, of course, with a bunch of different things.
Well, they look like, as I said, this is the first thing I said about these fucking characters, is it looks like Mark Zuckerberg just went to Nintendo and said, yeah, give me the me thing where you're able to make a character that looks like you on the Wii. Yeah, the one from 2006. Yeah, give me that, and we're going to use that in this year. That's what it is. They're amiibos. They're awful, man. Holy shit.
Different hair and features and outfits, piercings, etc. Which is kind of neat, sure, but you still end up feeling like a metaverse meeting is just a bunch of me characters from Nintendo Wii. But it's very...
Everybody fucking knows it. Obviously.
pretty
Pre-watch?
much a
Yeah, there you
stopgap.
go.
Because we also saw that Meta announced this live avatar that looked absolutely wild to me. You can essentially use your phone to take a scan of yourself, and then the headset takes that and puts a photorealistic version of you into the virtual environment, complete with that face tracking and eye tracking and everything that we talked about before. That is super next level. So you can imagine now, instead of just a Zoom call with coworkers, a really good meeting is...
See, I don't understand, like, how narcissistic would you have to be to put yourself in, like, a VR
contact and relative
app?
audio positioning and lean over the person.
And most people that use VR are so fucking ugly that they don't even want to, like, they don't want people to know what they really look like.
These weird avatars with
I'm talking about a video I'm listening to, woman.
meetings. That's not even that much time. What else people do?
The new Quest lets you take a selfie, and it scans it, and it puts it for your face and whatever you're playing, including, and then it'll read like your facial expressions while you're using it.
Office buildings.
Yeah, it's a useless feature. It is absolutely useless.
For many hours. And the Quest Pro
I mean,
has
cool
native Mac support
technology
that let
and all,
me project
but-
my Mac screen onto
That doesn't do anything for immersion at all. Like, it's dog shit.
You can just take this headset.
I need more money.
I don't understand it.
Maybe they're trying to implement some form of
I need more money.
Setup. Wherever you go, basically.
I don't not know the point
And do
of
way
that.
more.
There is no fucking point of it. It's stupid.
Again, get better with time and Microsoft.
That's one of the reasons why VR is going to fail.
And accelerate.
They're not advancing it in the right directions.
Money into Accenture.
I need more money.
Like, imagine how much money they spent putting a face scanner in the fucking thing when they could have made it $300 cheaper by not having one.
And will dump
And they could have just made Oh, and by the way, the battery's only an hour and a half. Quest 2's longer than that.
Oh, it's hard because like social media apps.
Yeah.
I do think
It's fucking stupid.
Why make the fucking?
Honestly.
You can only play for an hour comfortably.
Yeah.
what's happening now.
I like the idea of having a standalone VR headset, and Quest 2 is wonderful for that. Like, playing golf in that is awesome. With no wires or anything. But, like, this is complete wrong direction.
He actually went in the polar opposite direction they needed
different
to.
governments trying to regulate the social media platforms.
Which is kinda funny 'cause,
And you're going to see this happen even
makes
more and
sense.
more and more. And I think what the outcome of that will ultimately be is that people will be on their own social media platforms that are just for certain groups of people in the world. And I actually think this is a horrible thing. I think one of the greatest things about the internet is I can play with somebody from Qatar. And I can be like, well, what's it like with the World Cup? And they can tell me what it's really like without me having to fucking read something on CNN, and they say it's something totally different. So yes, like, gaming and the internet is so good for those reasons. And I'm very worried about this happening. And I think that almost for sure it will, unfortunately.
That, like, if you want to make a bunch of videos, just make a virtual reality tech startup in some way, and you will eventually.
I was trying to be
get
gentle.
acquired by Meta. It's no wonder chief metaverse officers became.
I try not to move too much, but man, you got me going and getting into it. And
But that brings us to the last thing. There's only one problem that I have with all of this, which is that controlling the entire foundation, this second generation internet, if you want to call it that.
Yes, it's obviously a problem, and that's why they want to have it. If a company is investing billions and billions of dollars into something, and will stop at nothing to have it released, you're right, this is a big dick move. But it also might not be good for everybody else. You gotta think about, like, so most of these companies operate on the idea that they're gonna make this money back. So, like, how are they gonna make this money back? How does that
This
actually
metaverse
happen?
is a terrible idea. So this comes down to Meta wanting as much control over this as possible.
Exactly.
Facebook was built on someone
Metaverse
else's
isn't a
foundation.
bad idea if it was executed right, but they're not executing it right at all.
Workrooms,
Like,
games.
PlayStation Home was a good idea that was ahead of its time and thus didn't have the right features. They could just make it PlayStation Home, to where, like, you're in a hub, kind of like you are in when you first put it on,
The experiences,
but maybe it'll be like a social hub with a bunch of people,
as possible to get as far
and
as possible.
you can
Now,
get with
funny about
whoever
those
and
are
just launch
developing and
games all at
making
the same
really
time
cool stuff
together
now along those same lines.
and go play a
The
game.
Pico headset I just showed you. There are
Instead,
stuff
you
from
have
Google,
things like
stuff
VR
from
chat, and
Apple.
that's the only
Expect
thing
in
that
the
you can
next
do
year
that
or
in.
so, Apple to finally unveil.
It's like, why not
their
just
VR
make the
headset,
VR
which I
chat
think will make
the
Meta a little
central
bit
hub of the whole thing,
Apple for sure
but
makes
not
sure
actually
that's
VR chat
the
because
best
that's
They're gonna
cancer.
make a better one. Apple is 100% going to make a better one. I guarantee it. Like, you guys might not understand this, but, like, Apple, like, the original Apple desktop PC was definitive. Absolutely fucking definitive. iPod, absolutely fucking
Zune was way better than iPod. I don't give a fuck what you say.
absolutely.
I can put pirated music on a Zune super easy. You can't do that with an iPod. You gotta fucking
Absolutely fucking definitive.
work around a whole bunch of stupid proprietary bullshit. Anything Apple is bullshit, quite frankly.
That was Steve Jobs. It was. It was a huge question. Will they be able to keep up that now that Steve Jobs isn't there? Great question. But I would argue that probably, I mean, you had Wozniak back then. You had a lot of other people that worked on Apple throughout the years that were probably influential in these kinds of things. It's not just one person. So I don't know. I do think that Apple, I would bet on them coming out with
Meta has already made so many connections, built so many technologies, and brought up so many VR companies, VR studios
they're trying to grow.
that over the hump to make it a thing, then it's meta. But the downside of that one, especially this company, having possibly that much control over people and over the future of the internet, and possibly doing crazy things like using eye tracking to make sure you see certain ads.
Exactly.
Is way too much for me to want to root for it at all. I've said it before, but when...
Yeah, I think so too. Yeah, these companies want to be God. They want to control everything that you do. They want to have access to your finances. They want to have access to what you're interested in, what you're attracted to, everything. They want to be part of your life.
Companies truly compete,
I only drink
is actually when we win. When there's actually real incentive to get
better.
better.
My body, I need liquid to live.
I think he's
but
right
if I'm
about
gonna drink
this.
liquids, I like to drink functional
100%
liquids.
you're right about this.
When people drink non-functional
but I think
liquids, I just think,
regular.
why? So
Like,
I've
I say
limited my
this about
liquids that I
everything.
consume
Because
to the following.
if you don't
Water,
have the
because it
government
hydrates
making
me.
these decisions,
Coffee, because it gives me
you do
energy.
not
of
need
some
a
sort.
formal
Or Red Bull or energy
conspiracy
drink,
when
because there's a
interests
point to it.
converge.
I might have an orange juice because it's got some vitamins in it.
Every
for
company
example.
is going to want to
Alcohol,
do the eye
because I'll get
tracking with
drunk.
ads.
Like if I look at a liquid, I like
It's
to
the
see
same
what's
thing
the
as how
end
every
result
company
of
now does
consummation
pre-orders
besides
for
the fact that it
games.
hydrates me.
Even though there's
That's
no
the reason I don't
to do it.
drink
Every
Coke.
company has DLC
The fuck does
and
Coke give you?
microtransactions for games.
Nothing.
It's
Why
not
drink
like
Coke?
we're all
Why the
fucking
fuck would you spend
randomly,
£3 on a
they
Coke
didn't get
when you can have
together
an
and
orange juice, a
decide
coffee, and a
this.
water?
It's
You have an
just what's
orange.
beneficial for them.
Amen.
It's the same as all of these companies. Like, look up the term planned obsolescence. Planned obsolescence, just very simply, is whenever a
That's
type of
Apple.
technology is designed to only work for a certain period of time.
Apple,
then,
pioneered
won't
it.
Be updated for that long, and then after that, it's pretty much going to fall apart, right? AKA Apple products. Or, I mean, honestly, I feel like the same things happen with like my phones too. But either way, I usually use the Samsung or Android.
So where the fuck is this dude?
This is not necessarily good for the customer, but every company does this. And that's what will happen. And so people don't complain about it as much because it's become the norm, but the only reason why it's become the norm is because there's no consumer protection.
This competition makes them better. That's when we get better stuff.
But he's right about this too.
But
it's not just one thing,
Mark's
it's two things.
metaverse money might make the meta thing much more
Oh,
mainstream.
she's
Yeah.
behind.
Or
Yeah.
maybe not. Thanks for watching. Catch you guys later. Peace.
This is a really, really good fucking video. God damn, the podcast videos are amazing. I'll link you guys the video. Yeah. The
that a casual gamer is someone who plays a game non-competitively, or someone who plays a game but isn't necessarily permanent.
Why would you play WoW
Casual gamers don't
competitively?
usually immerse themselves any further into the game.
And I can say that freely on this stream because if you're interested in a single player WoW, then you obviously don't give a fuck about any competitive aspect of it.
I think this is kind of a hard
That I can guarantee.
Casual gaming, I'm gonna take the number of hours that an average gamer plays. In 2021, is what we have to work with.
Okay.
If you've played World of Warcraft before, which I'm sure a lot of you who are watching this video have, you probably know where I'm heading with this.
I have no
How
idea.
far into the game do you think a casual player can get in 2 hours? Look, I'll even give Blizzard the benefit of the doubt and leave out leveling a character, because at this point it's so fast-paced and has nothing to do with the relevant content. So let's
leveling a character doesn't matter. It has nothing to do with it. I don't really care about leveling a character. It's whatever.
start at Shadowlands. How far into Shadowlands
I love
can
leveling.
someone get in 2 hours? Well, on their first
I love
character,
going
they
into
go
this
story
thing.
and start the intro content.
I like clicking
After
this
the
thing. I
ice
like
climb and listen to Bull
putting
Bar say
points in
something
this
about
thing.
Sylvanas
Makes it
being
feel
rude. They go to
successful,
Vaughn,
just like
say
I am in
John
real
Wick,
life.
Thrall, Anduin, and then Bane. They walk about a mile to sneak through the jailer's forces, only to get caught by the jailer again. Their character finds a way to get teleported to Orlando and listen to gates and listen to Bull Bar bitch.
Could you just cast a damn spell, please? Thank you.
10 minutes to get to 10 minutes. They're level.
That's why I'm so glad that Scholar Boost. I'm gonna be honest. I buy it for all my characters. Yep, I buy it for all my characters. And you know what? You know what the best part about this is? I actually don't think this is a huge problem. This is the entry-level new player experience.
So much damage, though.
Is it a little bit slow? Yeah, it's a little bit slow, but that's like the story. It's like, whenever you think about it in context, this is the best, and it's only going to go downhill from here. Pay to win? Yeah. Yeah, that's right. Pay to win. Boost for $60 is pretty good. Yeah, that's correct. So it would be my perfect universe, okay? My perfect universe would be that as soon as I hit level 60 character, I can enter a Mage Tower type challenge for my alts, and if my alts can beat the Mage Tower type challenge, I instantly level them to 60 with no other effort at all. That would be it. That would be my best case scenario. And if I have to spend any time leveling a character, I'm pissed.
Because that's sniping charge in. You couldn't skip it. If someone is doing this for the first time, how long would it take them? Someone who hasn't played Warcraft would argue that it would take their full 2-hour time limit for that day. I'm not trying to argue that the content should be shorter or not. That is pure opinion, because completing the intro for the first time is actually fairly important. It sets up the entire Shadowlands storyline, which is confusing as hell, even for veterans. If you enjoy the intro, that's perfectly fine. What I'm trying to bring to light here is that casual players have a lot of time investment waiting for them in order to play. This is just the intro. You can argue either way.
I have 2 guild members on this quest now, so I can't abandon it. Just gonna have to keep fucking grinding. Unfortunately.
I think that it's fair to expect a new player to level up through the story. Am I wrong about that? I think that it's fair to expect a new player to level up through the story. Because it's like at least once. Like that I think is it's a fair assumption to make. I think every game has this, and I think the games that don't have it, there's a lot of there's a lot of negatives to that, to not having it. This is like in Lost Ark, you have to do it at least once. Why? It gives you, so like the reason why is that it teaches you how to play your character. It teaches you like what different abilities do. It teaches you how to interface with bosses. You get used to casting your abilities rather than just immediately being put at max level and you're like queuing into a heroic. You have no idea what you're doing. There's also like a story that you should try to at least to some degree understand. And I think that it's better for the game to entice you into at least having a passive understanding of the story. I think that's better for a game. And so, that's why. Those are some of the reasons why.
Warcraft has been developed for 2 major groups of players. You can see this purely based on the focus of updates that go into the game every patch. The first group is hardcore or dedicated players. More specifically, players who do one of 3 things: raid, PvP, and usually a single side system, which I guess in this case is Torcast. When Shadowlands came out, it was pretty apparent that Blizzard had fallen on the same path again. These 3 pillars are usually tailored for high-end, difficult, competitive play. The second customer group...
You know, let's get some more guild mates over here.
Stop for a second. Somebody said, but what about Final Fantasy 14? What about? Here's why. It's different. Is because the amount of time that you have to spend getting from doing all of A Realm Reborn, all of Heaven's Ward, all of fucking Stormblood, I haven't done that one, and all of Shadowbringers is going to take a fucking, like, take however long it takes to do it in WoW, to get caught up to level 50, and then put a 0 behind it, and that's how long it would take in Final Fantasy. And also, you can't buy a story skip in Endwalker. You have to level up yourself. This is the same thing.
Then is the group that I like to refer to as the I don't know and I don't care group. This is the weird one, on the other side of the spectrum as hardcore dedicated players. Blizzard seems to think that...
Where's level 32, then he can probably take this.
This is Blizzard's target audience, okay? Why did Blizzard not have PvP vendors? Because players couldn't find, how can we expect a player to find the PvP vendors. Where are they? What if players can't find them? They don't know them. They don't care.
That exists, but I tend to disagree. The I don't know and I don't care group is made of players that are
The more you tweet about WoW, the less you actually play the game. Like, I feel like that's so true. Like, yeah, man, I love WoW so much. WoW is so great. Oh, WoW is
That's
so
my goal. Just
fun.
Captain Obvious, isn't it? Isn't he?
Profile, and they're like fucking item level 234. They did Terra Grew on normal mode once, and they have fucking half of their Korthia campaign done. And they're like, bro, I love WoW. Does anybody else love WoW? I love it. It's such a good game. It's so fun. I'm addicted. Oh my god.
they can find the start to the Shadowlands intro. They don't mind hopping onto the game for 30 minutes and then not playing again for a couple weeks. This group is treated as if they never once even attempt to get to higher level content. But with the game being subscription based, I don't think Blizzard has as many players that do this as they think. Why pay monthly for content that you can never listen, I respect it. If you want to play World of Warcraft for 30 minutes and then wait for your spouse to get out of the shower, then by all means do it. You shouldn't have to feel pressured. It does not mean that Blizzard should only developing game features that
I'm gonna go ahead and do him a favor.
They developed the game around the bottom and the top 10% of players. All right, you ready for him? Here it goes.
Hey, just was wondering, is this an out-of-season April Fool's joke?
And that's where the design of current World of Warcraft is. Either you are part of the top 20%
Did everybody
of players
else
that can
get
complete
it?
enough content, get your gear, complete the storylines, and complete a raid on normal, or you are part of the bottom 10% that are fine with never attempting to do that. Where does that leave the
okay,
other
we're done here.
70% of players?
In
Here we
Final
have
Fantasy.
70% of players playing on average 16
invite.
hours a week.
Yeah, in Final Fantasy, that's where it leaves them. That's exactly it. Yeah, those are the people that moved over to Final Fantasy. All the people that are like, it's like, oh, you've got all the people like, all right, I've got 17 mages, and this time, whenever the new expansion comes out, I'm going to level, so I've made a spreadsheet, and I'm going to level each mage each day, and so by the end of the month, I'm going to have all 17 mages leveled max level, and they're going to be ready and then farming their aspect power, and they're going to be all blue dragonflight, because that gives a 0.6% damage increase, and so Blizzard is making that person so happy. And then also, you've got the guy... Oh, hey. Hey, you know, whatever happened to the BlizzCon? Why are they not doing BlizzCon anymore? The controversy. Oh, I remember that's whenever they had like 10 and 25 man raids? Yeah, I remember that. Uh-huh. So these are the two people... what controversy? These are the two. Free Hong Kong. What do you mean? Like Free Willy or where's Hong? I think that China or something. Like, what's that? Wow, man. Like, and that's the way they look. And like, so they got no fucking idea about this game. And like, they got no clue.
Fuck.
That's the people that make it.
To decide what to do with their game time. What does Blizzard have for them? A couple months ago, I made a video highlighting the complexity of jobs, and I used WoW's endgame as an example.
Bitch.
This
This is Kramerica Industries area now, buddy.
So this is
Get
a flow chart.
fucking used to it.
That then feed you information into an algorithm that then parses out that information and does mathematical calculations into where it tells you how to actually mathematically maximize your artifact and your moon can all because you're just trying to kill fire dramatically. You can't raise on your main character because you're not doing enough DPS. You're trying to and you're trying to get a conduit energy, you're out of conduit energy, you gotta wait for the trying to get all your legendary, you gotta go back into Torghast, and then you have to layer 8, white item on the option.
I need more mana.
Can't the white item on the option here. Then oh my god, the legendary was the same piece that you got from the raid, so now you need to get a legendary token, buy another wild token for 2,000 gold, $200 again, and then you make a second legendary. Like this is that's the experience. 300,000 views. 300,000 views for that one. So yeah, that's the Shadowlands freestyle right there. That's what it was. It's actually perfect. Yeah.
To attempt to raid in Castle.
Imagine playing Shadowlands instead of this.
Not going to engage with something like this. Think about someone who isn't already in the habit of looking up guides.
Do you know
Think
what
of
you
someone
used
who
to have
doesn't
to
know-
do in Wrath? So we get to level 80, and then I do like a dungeon, and then it gives me a badge, and I put the badge in the guy, and it gives me a helmet. And then I go and there's this circle thing, and we go there, and I got more gear there. And then there's the tower. Oh my god, the tower. That's it. That was it. That's all you had to do. It was really simple. You get 80, you get the gear, you do the boss.
About Icy Veins or Wowhead. How would they even begin to understand this? And I was the one who put it in a flowchart. This is obviously not shown to you in game. In the game, you are basically thrown to the wind.
I bet they don't show you that. Yeah, they don't want you to see
Sure,
that.
you get told what conduits are, but how would you know which one is best for your class? Sure, you get told what legendaries are, but how would you know where to pick up the memory?
It would be fine if they didn't tell you which ones were good, if there wasn't like a massive fucking power difference between one or another. It's like, for example, whenever you're playing Lost Ark, you know that certain abilities are good because you hit the ability and it does 2 million damage, and you hit the other ability and it does 200,000 damage. You know what? I think that the 2 million one does more. I think this one's better. Right? But with this one, there's like all these different fucking mathematical equations, and you can't keep it in mind. Yeah, it's too much.
Even before all of this, how would they know what covenant to pick? They wouldn't.
Yeah.
A casual player with no guide to tell them what to do and when
They just
will
pick
have
the
to
cool
learn
one.
through trial and error. And this is where Blizzard punishes them. Let's do a little visualization exercise. At the start of Shadowlands, covenants, conduits, and legendaries were noticeably unbalanced. Let's say you spent the time to build your covenant renown, a weekly time-gated reputation system that unlocks necessary.
This was so fun, man. I remember every week I would log on, and then I would get like a new covenant level, and it would give me a new title, and I'd get 1% stamina. Like, bro, like, it was lit. Oh my god. Wow.
Player power. That's already a hefty time sink, but let's say you did. You join a random dungeon group and
Those
are
were
hit
the
with the heavy
days.
realization that you are doing far less damage than your fellow DPSers. They tell you that
No, that's actually not true. You're wrong on this one. All right, this is a wrong. So you don't have a damage meter installed because you're a casual player. You get informed that you're doing less DPS than everybody else whenever everybody patiently waits before
Let me
a
get the
boss, and then you're no
hammer
longer in the
fall.
group,
I just
and
got
next
the
thing you
quest
see is
item that had a
loading
2%
screen
drop
back to the main
chance.
city, and then somebody whispers you that you suck.
you need to do more damage or you'll be kicked from the group. For the sake of discussion, we'll say that these groupmates of yours are nice enough to tell you why you aren't doing enough damage. They say
It's
you
right
aren't
here. I just
getting
need to get in the
rotation.
wall so I don't
They
get
notice you
ganked,
aren't
because
getting
that happens a
efficient.
lot
They notice your
now.
covenant is
The bots,
far less
so
optimal option for your class.
they're out
Now
there.
you are playing with the
They're
realization
fucking
that
out
not
there.
only are you choosing to play with the less
I literally can't alt
others you are playing
tab.
with are
Like, the
noticing
only
you
time I
are
alt tab is when I
pressure.
like
You
switch
feel
videos or
like
something real
covenant
quick.
of a badass
But I have to
undead
be
warrior
real quick,
necrolords to fuck off and go join the
or I'll get
fairies
fucked
just
up.
Ooh, I'm gonna be a little fairy now because it makes me do more damage.
That's the way it goes. And like, you know what I did? I just decided, you know, like, oh, Venthir's not good anymore. Okay, I'm just not gonna raid. Whatever. Yeah, it is what it is. Hopefully it'll be good next time. Yeah, fuck it.
What you want?
They give your class the best damage boost. And of course you start from 0 renown, so there starts the same covenant grind all over again. again.
How
If
stupid
you
is
had
that?
only 16 hours a week to play video games, would you want to spend it like this? A casual player is not going to understand on his own why everyone is doing more damage than him. They most likely won't even have a damage meter add-on to tell them how much damage they are doing. Now on top of learning the game's combat and stat mechanics and potentially downloading add-ons and following a class guide, Blizzard wants them to understand conduits, soulbinds, and legendaries too. And if you happen to choose the wrong one, you'll start to notice it as soon as you get into another dungeon group and you are falling behind yet again. But I want to say it again, it's not only the complexity of the systems that drive casual players away. Some people will be okay to try and learn it on their own time, but if they aren't driven away by the complexity, then they may be driven away by the fact that they are punished for making the wrong decision.
That's what it is. I think
Of
that is
course.
what the real
Of
problem
course.
is
Last time we
more
got
than
it, that's the
anything
same shit we got last
the
time,
fact
right?
that if you make a bad call
Yeah.
in the game,
Of
that
course.
you just
Automatic yes.
now you have to go back and forth. Like I think that Blizzard looks at it from the perspective of, well, we can't have people changing.
I don't have time to
conduits
fish
all the
now. I
time.
got an
We
excuse.
don't want to have people changing conduits and changing their covenants. It's gonna be chaos. They're gonna have to go back every boss and change their conduits and covenants, and they're like constantly worried about this. They're constantly stressed out about this. Blizzard's so worried about this. It's like, oh my god, this min-maxer that spends 3 hours a day looking at parses on Warcraft logs is gonna have to get summoned back to the raid. Holy shit! And then so this is the big problem that the game has. And suddenly now every single other person in the entire game has to pay the price for it. It's the same thing with the AoE cap. I'm sorry, but I'm gonna just call it how I fucking see it, and I think that the only reason that they added the AoE cap is because of the MDI. There is no other value that the AoE cap adds to the game. It made the game worse. GCD too. I disagree with that. I think the GCD changes were to some degree necessary. However, I think that they went overboard. I think it's something should have been on GCD. Like Legion, like. The Legion did have a problem with people stacking 10 different abilities and then doing max damage because it was bad to balance.
Maybe someone should actually just. Maybe somebody should actually have like their sibling or friend just hit him in the head with a baseball bat and actually go into a coma.
Each wrong decision they make will force them
And
to
then
spend more time
put him,
focusing
lay him
their
in bed
time
in a
learning
coma,
how
and then
to
just
want
dump
to spend
food
it.
on him,
Leveling
right?
takes time. Gearing takes
Food
time.
coma.
Grinding, anima, and renown takes time. Everything in the game.
There's just
takes
like
a
stuffing
value.
laying all over their
Time is
chest.
a valuable resource, and
There's
that
a
time
turkey
needs
on
to
their
be
crotch.
respected, or players will go to
Cranberry
another game that
sauce
they
on
feel
their,
respects their
all
time.
over their
That's not just
face.
for casual players.
Food
That's for
coma.
everyone. But casual players have a much lower tolerance for what they feel is time wasting. 16 hours a week is not just to complete the content, but also
Oh yeah. Casual players not gonna want to have to fuck around doing some bullshit like this over and over, a punish quest, right? And people that didn't know, like actually like no
Deduct what?
Mythic Dungeon Invitational is what the MDI is. It's basically like the tournament
Why?
to see who can run the
Because
dungeons
that's what Mom
as
owes me
fast
for
as
paper
possible.
towel.
So like what my assumption was is that they, I think that they develop a lot of the game. This is like my own opinion. Is that I think Blizzard develops the game around these
Well, that's gonna be up to you to remember that.
right? Like they develop.
And go ahead and
around
subtract
Megaphone
everything else I
content.
owe you
It
too.
wasn't. It actually wasn't. Back in Legion, MDI used to be
You hear me,
so
woman?
fun to watch.
24.
Like it was so fucking fun to watch. And then as it just got more like formulaic,
Wait, is that guy in a guild?
It became less fun to watch.
Oh, he's in
Do you
that
wanna
the
know how to
don't
make
overwhelming
MDI more
guild.
fun?
That's a lot. There's a lot of people in that fucking guild.
Let's see. Add in.
Oh, he has a dog named Spot. Laura. He has a wolf named Spot.
Put
I
them
like
in
all
the
better.
areas.
Which is stupid because there's no
And
spots.
then also spec bands. Yeah, spec bands. Yeah, exactly. Make the content. The thing is that this is what the problem is with MDI, is that MDI is fair.
All right, you know what?
Well, that's fucking boring. Who the fuck wants to watch that?
You're gonna.
Oh, it's a fair competition to see who.
You're
can
gonna
clear a
come with
+20
us
dungeon
for this
faster?
quest.
Oh my god. Like this is better ASMR than on Twitch. Like oh my god.
And then I'm gonna
it's
get rid of him.
Like fairness. Like oh my god. Like let's make it fun.
keep up with the player base who is willing to spend much more time
Fairby
getting
gets
raid
those
or
money reward?
PvP ready.
Who
And
cares?
time, grinding
Yeah, I'm gonna
complex
get rid of
systems,
him.
and social pressures aren't the only thing that are keeping casual players away. There's also a major information and skill gap
Yeah, I know,
between
I
the
accept
hardcore
that other
players
quest.
and the casual players.
This one
Something
doesn't
brought
have a
about by the
2% drop
necessity of
rate.
add-ons and online
I
class
don't
guides
care.
in order
Let
to play the
me
game
park
at
over
the skill
here
level.
so when
You
people
can
stop in
argue
my
that
chat, they can
add-ons
watch the
aren't
bots dueling for
necessarily
no
the fault of
reason.
Blizzard, though I would
For
have
some
to
reason,
support
they're on
this.
like east side of the
They
fence, so it's like
absolutely
really
need
hard
the
to.
add-ons. Nobody would compete in an RNG tournament. Oh, really? Then why do they compete in
This
VR?
dude's just getting pegged by totems. What's he casting?
Here. Let me explain to you why people
Heal.
would compete in tournaments, okay? Yeah, Lama, it's
Anyway.
VR isn't RNG.
Alright. Let's go.
Or card games, or Hearthstone, or whatever. Yes.
Let me just pause Osmogold.
Well, you gotta click on TV first. I'll get up.
I was getting a little close to your fart box earlier.
You were? I couldn't tell if that was drool or.
Or maybe it's just because I was facing not going too closer.
Yeah, probably my nose was like right there.
Ew, ever burped through your nose before? Ooh. Interesting. Alright. Let's go do this fucking quest.
The thing is, BR is not taken seriously. Yeah, and neither should WoW. Exactly. That's my whole point. That's my whole point. Yes, exactly. And it's that the people will compete in tournaments if the tournaments have prizes and if the tournaments get good viewers. It's that simple. So get good prizes, get good viewers, and if there's a tournament to who can duct tape the most rice onto their head, people are going to compete in it. It doesn't matter if it's fair. Some people have bigger heads than others. But people will still compete in it because a lot of people are going to watch. Like, go watch these, like, have you guys ever seen, like, one of these, like, Japanese fucking game shows where they're running around and they're playing Fall Guys in real life? Do you think that's fucking fair? There's people throwing fish at them and stuff? Like, yeah, it's duct tape and rice. No, that's insane. Yes, and people love it. It's not fair. It has nothing to do with being fair. It's about being fun.
I don't think add-ons are the problem. Add-ons are created to fulfill a need that the game does not. A big reason that add-ons became a necessity is because the game is designed in a way that requires an add-on for players to succeed. Raiding and Mythic Plus dungeons.
I think that this is not entirely true, because I think that Blizzard creates something that is challenging, and then an add-on takes it from being challenging and makes it completely irrelevant. You see what I'm saying? Like, you know how they have, like, these, like, add-ons that solve puzzles in WoW and stuff like that? So I actually don't think that the game, like, basically, the game was, like, challenging, and then they made add-ons that made it easy, so then they made the game harder, so then whenever the add-ons made it easy, then the add-ons just made it back to normal.
And some of the most fulfilling experiences that I've personally had in World of Warcraft. They challenged me to learn my
Which is
class,
dumb.
learn how to use consumables.
I think certain add-ons should be illegal.
Awesome sense of achievement when you complete
I think UI add-ons should be like changing the look of your UI and things like that should be legal.
And having this sense
but
of
things
wonder
like
and amazement
dungeon maps and shit like that.
I didn't see WoW as an RPG. Now it was all numbers.
But yeah, then somebody will just alt tab and look at the fucking map, and you know, that's whatever. And how you gonna? How are you gonna police that kind of thing? I don't know.
In order to raid with my guild,
especially when people are paying for a service.
This was necessary so I could do endgame dungeons and start grinding renown. I had to look up a class guide so I could pick out the best talents, the best covenant, and find the best gear.
People that need add-ons, like I have this add-on just to see how the bots are doing these days in terms of DPS, because before they weren't very good.
Tell me what my weekly checklist should be in order to make gold, stockpile anima, get soul ash, and farm consumables for myself and my guild. I had to look up guides to the Castle Nathria boss mechanics and make sure I was aware of what my role would be to counter them. I had to look up guides on my ability rotation as a fire mage and how to maximize DPS as a caster while constantly on the move in the raid. I had to download a list of add-ons that gave me a number of advantages that are necessary to perform at a raiding level. Deadly boss mods that gives me alerts when specific mechanics
It's like, imagine doing all of this and then getting kicked out of the getting kicked out of the guild because they find out you're a girl. Like, you spend all this time. You spend all of this time downloading all of these add-ons and, like, everything. And you put in all of this effort. And they find out you're a girl and they kick you out. Oh my god. Where did that come from? Oh, there's a lot of guilds that do that.
Happening in a boss fight. Weak Auras, which is a tool that allows you to download class-specific HUDs that show you which spells you need to cast and when. Raider.io, which allows you to keep track of your rating and
All the
Mythic
girls
Plus
went to
dungeon
Final
progress.
Fantasy.
Players use this to determine your worth in game. Bartender 4, which isn't completely necessary, but it allows you to have complete control over all of your
Happens
actions.
in Classic? No, what happened in Classic's even better. There's this guy, he's on my server. They found out he was black, and they kicked him out of the guild. So then he gets re-invited back into the guild, and they ask him if he's still black. Turns out he was. Got kicked out again. That's the way it goes. Yep, no fucking way. Yeah, I'm not even kidding. Rain. It was not rain. It was not rain.
Bars, including the location and size, so that I could have a cleaner screen during the boss fight. Plater, which is a nameplate manager that I could use to easily distinguish ads from bosses, and customize alerts for health percentages on each enemy. And Details, a DPS meter that would allow me to make sure I was pumping DPS. If not, I needed to practice my class more and pump more damage. And there are more.
I love how people say, like, there's people in chat, that never happened, not a real story. Okay, so here's the video, right? Here's the link, and here's the screenshots right here. I was randomly invited to join this guild in Farlina called Pirates. I was immediately kicked when I asked them to kick out a racist person, posted I hated black people in chat. A week later, I get another invite to the guild. I was confused, but I still joined just to see that this was about. Immediately get called okay, I'm not going to say that. It's a racial slur. Why does music allow this? So these are the screenshots of the messages, and this is where it happened. Right, literally right there. So this is the screenshot where it happened. Okay.
Fuck them up.
You see it? Yep, still black. And then pick them out again. Just like what I said. Now, I know we're just gonna extend this a little bit more. So, that never happened. We'll stop lying. Chat, right? Yep, I want you. Sorry for doubting you, Asmongold. To doubt your integrity, to be accurate in all things.
Oh shit. We can handle this though, I think. I'm gonna have to use that. And my druid's already out of mana, that's wonderful.
Let's watch the video again.
All of this just to join my guild in our attempts to complete the entry-level
It's insane. By the way, like, I just want people to know that that's just
I love being interrupted. It's the greatest feeling ever.
SJW, like, oh wow, they said that, like, I told them that my gender was a deer, and they kicked me out because I did low damage. I can't believe that they are racist. Like, that's not what's happening. Like, it's actual.
This is gonna be a wipe.
Like real
I'm at least gonna take this bitch with me.
Not like the meme, not, oh, I told a Dave Chappelle joke, the guy's white so people think he's an asshole. No. Actual fucking racist. It's a lot different. It's important to keep that in mind and keep what the difference of the two things are.
This preparation was a commitment. And you know what? Even after doing all of this, I was still third from the bottom on the DPS meter. My abilities were much more dedicated and skilled than I was. Now if you think, hey, I don't need all of this stuff, I'm just going to raid blind and see how it goes. I would say, if it was that easy, everyone would do it. Yeah. Unfortunately, because the raiding scene has become so competitive due to the increasing amount of preparation and difficulty of boss mechanics, if you don't have all of these things that I just listed, you are basically gated from the content. Guilds will not take you because they don't want to waste their time a week on someone who isn't putting in the same amount of effort that they are.
Which is completely fair, by the way. It is completely 100% accurate. We're trying to be wanting to be amongst your own kind.
It is not. There's nothing wrong with the guilds that feel that way, unless you're talking about the racist thing and being amongst your own kind. And then shut the fuck up. Right, like you've got more in common with this some black dude that's playing WoW than some fucking super rich person like Donald Trump. You've got way more in common with him, and don't let any fucking idiot tell you differently. Keep that in mind. And so anyway, that's racist. That's stupid as fuck, man. People don't even understand that. No, yep, you do. You think you got something in common with some billionaire, bro? Like. I'm sure you and the billionaires are just the same, man. Yep, I bet you just the same. Just read the raid journal. Nah, that's not. The thing is, like, it's not the guild's fault. It's not the guild's fault at all, because the guild is. I do the same thing. If somebody's not ready for the raid, then fuck them. Like, I don't want to deal with them. But at the same time, like, man, if like I don't want to sit all the time, and I wish it wasn't a system.
Groups will take you, but as soon as you start messing up mechanics, they will kick you. You are basically relegated to LFR only, which is sometimes more difficult than just completing the content on higher difficulties. LFR is filled with new or less dedicated players.
Oh, that's where I fucked up right there, and I didn't have my buffs on.
Looking for free loot. That's what it is. Most people that are in LFR, if you look at the damage breakdown of their abilities, they're hitting 3 abilities. They're hitting 3 abilities, and they're watching Netflix. They're just looking for free loot.
Nothing wrong with that, but just keep in mind that if the mechanics require 25 people to work together to take down a boss, and a handful of people don't perform, the entire raid wipes. That is worse in LFR because there is little to no communication from anyone, but I'm getting off topic. The point I'm trying to make here is that casual players have to quite literally become dedicated players simply to attempt any of the raiding content. It creates a gatekeeping community that relies on add-ons to make their weekly raid clear attempts more effective and efficient. If you don't buy into this culture of DPS meters and boss alerts, then you aren't allowed to enjoy it. Think about it, what group of 25 people would want to spend every week waiting for you to get better while they are paying $15 a month to play the game a certain way? More often than not, you'll be kicked just to respect the fact that other people in the guild want their time respected, and I don't blame them. Unfortunately, it's not your fault. It's Blizzard's. They've created a game where difficulty depends on raid mechanics that force you to rely on other people to complete the content. They created a time-consuming maze of player power systems that force players to adopt the most efficient way to play rather than the most fun way to play. They've created a community that focuses on numbers rather than playing the game, because in order to play the game, they are required to focus on numbers. Add-ons like DPS meters, boss alerts, weak auras, IO scores are all a byproduct high difficulty content in an expensive game.
Well, I think also, like, another big factor is that whenever a new patch comes out, the raid is like all the content from the patch. Xerath Mortis is pretty good. It is. Like, all things considered, I've talked to my friends about it. Like, they like it. I think it's okay, but imagine if you don't raid and patch 9.1 comes out.
Fuck.
You know what I mean? Like, it's like, are you, it's so bad. There's like no content.
Classes, farming, boss mechanics, and leveling or gearing are a byproduct of building a game that keeps all its elements behind walls of tedious, tasks. And here Blizzard expects a casual player with 6 hours a week to engagement numbers. They expect that to figure this all out. And Blizzard either builds that or they just don't care. It's kind of funny.
They're 2 and 5. See, like, you don't, it's not that, see, they're listening to people in guilds that play the game professionally and PvPers that have played the game professionally for 10 years.
Oh.
And they're taking
Other bot revived just in time.
Let me give you a little bit of advice. You know the last thing that we need is another arena. Like, we don't need another fucking arena. Stop, you know what we need is another battleground. Where are the battlegrounds? Where are the other PvP modes? Where are the war mode improvements? Where's the other 40-man battleground? It's Ashran, and Ashran sucks. this content. I don't give a fuck. Oh wow, there's 3 pillars instead of 4. We already have that to Tolvir anyway. Now we're getting it again with Maldraxxus. Who cares? There's no casual content. I will say, everything that's come out of Blizzard has been relatively good. I think so. I think that most of the things that have come out of it, like most of the changes that has come out, has been relatively been a substantial. And I think we'll see that continues to be the case in the next expansion. I do. I think that in many regards it has been.
I've really been a casual player for 5 years now, but I still go back in time and enjoy the game as much as I used to. I experienced that naive sense of wonder and excitement that I used to get while exploring casually running dungeons with friends, but I honestly don't think that's possible. It would be hard for me and the majority of WoW's current player base to take off the meta blinders that are keeping us pushing our skill levels higher and higher. What would we do? Intentionally?
Well, you can't go back and unlearn. It's like whenever I beat Elden Ring, I was unhappy and sad because I knew that I could never beat it for the first time again. I knew that I can never relive this. It's like, fuck, man, now it's over. I've got to wait 3 more years, you know?
Stuck at the game. So when I say that I would like for Blizzard to do something for the casual player base, I don't really ask because it would directly benefit me. I think it benefits the game's health as a whole, and it would revitalize the world that all of us love so much. Wouldn't it be great if we were able to boost the population of some of these dead servers again? Wouldn't it be great if we could have players stay for more than 3 months after the expansion drops?
Yeah.
I think Blizzard needs to focus on bringing back casual content. Add more pillars to the end.
Casual content has to be the focus of the game. Like, we want more mounts. I want more things like the Torghast solo Jailer's Gauntlet. We need more things like gold challenge modes for the little bit more hardcore players. We want more types of fun content. Stop making content for people that derive their ego from your game.
Than just raiding Mythic Plus and PvP. Reduce or remove some of the repetitive, grindy, time-gated mechanics that force players to play efficiently rather than having any amount of fun. Try to break down some of these barriers to entry that new and casual players have to face anytime that they try to enjoy the best parts of the game. If they can't change some of these things to make add-ons less necessary, maybe they could incorporate some of the add-on functionality into the game, like they've done with eye levels and Mythic Plus scores. That would give everyone an equal playing field when it comes to information and functionality. But
you know they did that. They disabled combat add-ons in Wrath of the Lich King. There was an add-on called AVR, and it just told you everything that you needed to know because it was like almost like a data hack into the game. It was so fucking insane, and everybody.
What I do know is that I still love this game, and I really hope that the WoW team tries to diversify content rather than developing a game on a playbook made 15 years ago. But most importantly, I hope you enjoyed the video. Leave a like if you liked it, and subscribe for more content. I hope you enjoy your adventures in Zero.
This is the GeForce RTX 3060 gaming laptop. It has an NVIDIA RTX 3060 GPU, 16 gigabytes of DDR5 memory, and an AMD Ryzen 9 processor. Okay. And it was provided by our fantastic sponsor, the one and the only Best Buy. This right here has been my workhorse choice ever since I got it. The build is excellent, the weight is solid, and I enjoy the aesthetic of it. Not to mention fantastic specs and
I could sell a laptop way better than this fucking
If you
show.
haven't used it yet, the NVIDIA DLSS or Deep Learning Super Sampling Technology allows it to tap into a deep learning neural network and use AI to boost frame rates and performance.
Miss me with that bullshit. Until the AI can detect where I can get those shots every time, the AI will shoot for me. I don't want to do that. I want an AI aimbot that's built into the laptop. Yeah, like, let's get down to what really matters.
Across the board, as well as graphical increases. This Asus gaming laptop is a champ because NVIDIA GeForce RTX GPUs can utilize DLSS technology and give games a speed and performance boost with uncompromised image quality for the ultimate gaming experience.
That's
And if
crazy.
you want to use it for yourself, all you need to do is look for the NVIDIA GeForce RTX badge on your device that you can see on the screen now to know that it is optimized for DLSS. Truth be told, this laptop right here is
They gave me the sticker, but I put it on my refrigerator. Yeah, I got one of these. I put it on my refrigerator.
the strongest one I've ever owned.
Yeah.
This thing is honestly a champ. I play a wide variety of games on it in a wide variety of locations, and it handles all kinds of games
If
with
the
it.
sticker's not on there, it won't work, even if the software is installed. I know it sounds crazy, but that's what it is. You have to have it.
Very graphically heavy or just very processor heavy super easily because of all of that DLSS tech. And it's also due to the big help of Best Buy. If you're somehow not familiar, they are the leading brand in a myriad of tech products, and I shop there like genuinely pretty regularly. They provided me with this
Pretty
Asus gaming
regularly.
laptop. And if you want to check out the laptop,
I shop at
utilize
Best
the new
Buy
NVIDIA
pretty
DLSS
regularly.
technology, or
In
take
fact-
a look at all of Best Buy's industry-leading services
fact-
and products, or perhaps maybe a little bit of all three. You should check out the
I'm
description.
gonna shop there
and
right
the link
now.
down there. Thank you very much, Best Buy, for sponsoring me, and let's go ahead and get started with the video.
I got some days off coming up. I'm gonna buy some fucking movies.
Sponsor me, like, guys, listen. I've been going to Best Buy for a while. Okay, like I bought like
Oh,
a bunch of
December
stuff. I've spent,
13th. Well,
probably,
never
$10,000
fucking mind, I guess.
at Best
Whatever.
Buy over my life, like probably more than that, 15,000. Like they should pay me. Yeah, like this is a good idea. Did you email them? I don't know. I think they should just they should just know. You know what I mean?
Everybody, my name is Bricky, currently serving at 10 to life for taking eating ass literally. This is the first video of me
Getting it
standing.
by Friday
may not be
next
the
week
first video
doesn't
I
do
release
anything
of me
for me. I'm
standing,
probably
but
just
it
gonna
is
go to the
first
store and
video
pick it
of
up.
me now standing for a thing instead of sitting down like normal. We're advancing. We're advancing ourselves now. I welcome you to another program which is called Bricky Mildly Rants about a thing that was on his mind and that you get to deal with. The latest episode.
That sounds like every stream that I do. Literally.
Being on Joel from The Last of Us. We here. You see, I don't have any impressions that I'm a particularly potent content creator. By that I mean, I don't think I can formulate my opinions or explanations as well as many others in my field.
I don't have to then start at like you can easily do that. You have to fucking watch your own videos back, write a good script, watch other people's
Or you just don't write a script at all. If anything, like when I made my single player project tutorials, I just took down like notes of what I wanted to talk about, and then that was it. I didn't write a script. Scripts are for fucking autists that can't stay on track. And I admit it's easy to go from one topic to another once you get to talking, but if you're disciplined enough, you can stay on topic pretty easily.
Intelligence of a Dan Olson or a Joseph Anderson, nor do I have the script writing skills of Seth or Racevic. All channels I thoroughly enjoy. I'm working on it, of course. Stagnation in content is a pretty good way to kill a channel, but I don't want to pretend I'm somebody I'm not.
Let's just sit here for 2 minutes and talk about my insecurities.
Insight to be more than
Is
a
this a
normal
car
review,
ad?
and just enough memes to keep people engaged. However, if I do pride myself on one thing, I think I have some pretty okay rants. If Warhammer has taught me...
So then can we get into it? Let's go. I'm ready. Let's hear it.
I'm saying.
Anything, it doesn't matter what the
Come on.
subject matter is. If you yell and you scream with enough gusto, enough power in your chest, someone is going to find you extremely persuasive, either as an ally
That's true.
or an enemy. So when I see an opportunity to rant, I plan to take it. Let's talk about the completely objective concept of video game balance, fun, and the interaction between the two.
Okay.
The game is fun.
So when we discuss these concepts, I want to talk about fun. You know, this is going to be a high and mighty video when I'm trying to define fun this early into the video. But to say fun is obviously not something that's easily defined, and it can mean a lot to different people. Whether it's satisfying
Fuck out of here. Get the fuck out of here.
I feel like video games are not. People don't play video games for fun. They play them for fulfillment. And if a video game has fulfillment, then that's really what people are looking for. They're not really looking for fun. Fun is just a way that they get fulfillment, because they're never gonna have fun out of something if it's not fulfilling.
That you really enjoy, unlocks, etc. Your fun differs, but I want to go deeper than that. I want to think about the sense of identity that a game or say choices in the game invoke. Say you're playing Overwatch and you main someone like Tracer. The fun, the identity of Tracer is to be a pest, to move extremely fast, be tricky, do a bunch of damage at close range, be hard to hit, dip in and dip out. That's the Tracer identity. In Titanfall 2, the Legion Titan is a gigantic off gun attached to a robot, and the identity of that Titan is and while it may not be the most effective Titan in the game, it's still the feeling you get. This can be brought down to an even simpler level. Guns in COD even have identities. The fun you create is invoked entirely by what you want the tools of the player to do. The problem, exacerbated by multiplayer games specifically, is that in order to invoke a certain feeling of fun, a certain identity, sometimes that will lead to some extremely aggravating cases of poor balance.
Perfectly balanced, as all things should be.
I think everything does need to be balanced. I think that, like, the idea that fun comes before balance is an opinion that people have whenever their class or their mode of gameplay is what's
Let's think about balance, okay? League of Legends, back in like Season 2, Season 3, there was a lot of imbalance that could have been cured with very minor changes. My philosophy has always been, why nerf someone that is overpowered when you can buff the champions that nobody likes to play? Why take the fun out of playing what everybody's playing right now? Especially when it's like a new hero, you know, and people like to fucking get all up in arms and start talking about a lawsuit. Whenever they buy a like a new champion in League of Legends, and they change it or they nerf it, so it's not what they bought, you know. And I think there's some merit to that kind of a lawsuit. But instead, let's just buff all the other ones, you know.
I need more mana.
Like, and it's the thing, like, if you look at all the champions in the history of League of Legends, and I'm just using League of Legends as an example, that were OP, they all had inherent weaknesses based on their build.
I need more mana.
Like, if you built old Darius back when he had the insta-spin instead of the lineup, if you built him full AD, you were a beast. Okay? But you were also squishy. So guess what?
I need more mana.
You get a relatively fed burst mage. You just deletes the Darius right off the map. It's not complicated. That basically just made Darius an assassin, you know. Again, it's just an example. then there was like, oh, what if they do Altmas with like 3 Warmogs and, you know, such and such. Then nerf the items. Don't nerf the hero. The champion did nothing wrong. In that case, it's the items. Nerf the items.
I need more mana.
Or buff other items. In the case of the Altmas Warmogs build, there wasn't anything else to fucking build, so why not just buff the other items? You know, same philosophy can apply. Don't make things diverse by ruining people's fun with what they're currently using. Give them more options. Don't force them into more options. You know what I mean? So, like, and WoW, you can't properly balance a PvE/PvP game. You just can't. You just can't. And the way they've done it in recent years is fucking silly. It's like, oh, you're gonna do this much damage in PvE, but in PvP, you're really doing this much damage. No. You balance it for PvE first because that's the bread and butter of the fucking game. I am so tired of Lieutenant Valor Call, like, honestly. He keeps strutting down here like a fucking piece of shit. I'm so tired of it. I keep having to fight him over and over and over. I want to increase the spawn time on this motherfucker. Fuck him up. Just fuck him up. Tired of this bullshit. Come on, you slut. Boom, bitch. Yeah, you're right. Let's tag to level 36 first. Good job. These bots are smart. Smarter than I am half the time, actually, to be honest. The bots are way better at target designation than I am. Oh, I got help. Yeah, get fucked. Can I please go turn this quest in now? Like, honestly. I want to go get up and get another beer, but I'm going to get ganked if I do that. I'm going to come back, my whole party's going to be done. Including me. Anyway.
Fun because it's better. I very rarely have people that say, oh wow, fun should come before balance, and my class is bad.
I consider myself very good at Overwatch, but I got my way to Masters or whatever because I loved playing Roadhog with his busted hook.
You can't balance a FPS like you balance a MOBA. You just can't. Because it's so... The feeling of shooting a gun in an FPS and not doing anything after you've been nerfed, it's game breaking. Like when I shoot people in Halo 2 on MCC and I get no feedback. It's absolutely ridiculous.
Oh my god.
It just reminded me I wanted to share a video with somebody.
Oh my god!
I was kind of like A-okay almost this entirety of the time here.
Blank headshot again. They're isolating it blue, but I got like multiple. No, they're BR. You can only cover so many spawns here.
No, you're good. Can you stay over there, though?
God.
Can you stay over there?
Flipping that. Oh my god!
Moment. 2 o'clock in the morning. Yeah.
Oh my god, how many blank shots am I gonna get on you? That was crazy.
Gotta up my cheeks, dude. Where my fucking getting trades there.
Yeah, the guy's fucking bad, but he makes a very good point.
This is what you'd refer to as proper aim with Rhoda.
Anyway. I gotta go get another beer. I'll be right back. Or no, I can't get another beer yet. I have to get to a safe place or bots are gonna gank me. It's kind of like playing Darkwood. If anybody's ever played Darkwood before. It's like, you know, I gotta get to a safe place. It's dark outside. I'm gonna fuck this elite up right now. I'm gonna fuck him in the ass. I don't even I think I abandoned the quest that I had for him. I'm pretty sure I did. But you know what? I'm fucking him up right now. You guys ready for this shit? We're doing it. We're doing it live. You ready? Fuck him. Let me clear out these rats. Hate rats. Kobolds, whatever. Oh, you're just gonna... Holy shit, you're just gonna die. Okay.
Help.
Well, you're gonna have to heal yourself. I can't do much for you. Clear out the rats, and then we can start working on the big dude. Alright. Is calling a kobold a rat, is that a racial, like, slur?
That's the only charge in.
Did I get banned for that? Calling kobold a rat? Fuck him up. Fuck him up, that's right. Eat a cock.
I need more mana.
I don't even have the quest for you and I still rape your shit. That's right. Well, I'm sorry. We gangbanged you. I should give credit where credit's due. Couldn't have done it without the team. Alright. Now I'm gonna get to Hammerfall here and turn that shit in. And after that, I'm going to kick this bot. I'm going to invite a couple bots around this guy's level, and we're going to go questing, and I'm going to let him be the party leader. I'm going to see if they're questing AI has gotten any better. I keep wanting to do that, and I keep trying to do that, but I keep getting distracted with other stuff. I'm going the wrong way entirely. Don't follow me. Just doing a little quick mic check. Oh. Oh, my game's disagreeing with me because I alt-tab. One moment. It's funny how toggling hardware cursor just fixes everything. Where's my woman? I shouldn't have to get up to get another. I gotta pee anyway, and you know it's. Unless she's gonna bring me a bucket, she can't really help me with that either. And quite frankly, it'd be disgusting. And I don't even think we have a bucket in this apartment. Should probably get one, honestly. Because with how often I clog up the toilet, we might actually need a bucket. Might be something worth investing in. I went and I bought the most expensive plunger when what I should have did, I should have brought the cheaper plunger and I should have bought a bucket and I could have saved myself like $4 had I done that. But if you ever used a cheap plunger before, you'd rather get the most expensive one possible. You'd rather get the one that's got like the gold-plated fucking handle and everything. You'd rather not use the cheap one. Because the cheap ones literally just break. Like you go to punch out, you know, a churd or something. And they just crack. Go inside out, you know. They're just cheap fucking silicone garbage. It's kind of like the kind of shit that's in like Pamela Anderson's tits, you know, that fucking kind of silicone, the shit that just, you know, super thin, not even worth bringing up in casual conversation. Are you in a guild? Of course you are. Who else had this quest? You had it, didn't you? Turn it in. Awesome, thank you. The fuck did you do?
Relax. See ya later.
Oh, he was doing it for him. Okay. Okay.
How you doing, man? Okie dokie.
I hope this doesn't turn into a giant chain quest because I really want to see what the spot will do here for like the next 30 minutes.
You come get the voodoo. Stay away from the voodoo.
killed him so many times today. So many times. And watch, I'm gonna go over there, I'm gonna go looking for him, and I won't be able to find him now.
You be careful, man.
I'd almost bet you. Anyway, I'll be right back.
Let's go. You know, you're gonna blow a candle out?
Wait, where you going?
Okay.
Not a bunch of love you or you going up?
Yeah. It still has a vitamin. It's
Well, they probably changed the flavor. I'm sorry, but they're still good for you. And the next time you go to the dog store to get food, I'm gonna get you some butt scoop or some inland lands. So, Pearl, I feel like 4 viewers at one point. Anyway, Pearl, the prequel to X, the movie.
Okay.
Is it went out, fucking ran in that shack, started shooting a porn,
Yeah.
and the old lady found out about stealing weed. The
Okay.
prequel is a festival.
Okay.
And I'm thinking I will pick that up since I got some time off next week. We have a movie night.
Okay. My mom and dad are both off on Saturday. I'm assuming you just go in the morning? Or-
Saturday? Oh, I'm all day Saturday. That's a 6:30 to 6:30.
I guess I can have Pauline take me.
Where?
My parents.
For what?
For the fish.
Wherever you want. Just don't involve me because I don't want to be there.
I thought you would have like the afternoon off or something.
Nobody asked me about work time. Wait for someone to ask me about. Nobody asked.
When it comes to holidays, nobody cares about work. We all try to
Yeah,
avoid
to be
talking
fair,
about it.
nobody was talking about their jobs either. So, this is what's special.
No, that's the old one. You didn't send me it.
I did send you it.
No, you didn't. That's the last picture I have. Freaking honky. Alright, I'm gonna be you for a minute.
Hammerfell. That's a gym. That's the new one. Like pretty much anytime between Sunday and Thursday, or anytime between Saturday and Friday next week.
We should have Wednesday off together. Did you want to do anything?
Have a movie night. We could also do that Tuesday night. But I would like to have two or days off with you.
You have PM dispatch. Oh, you're 2 to 6:30.
Yeah, that ain't shit, especially if I have the day off next day. And you know my sleep schedule's gonna be so fucked up.
Yeah.
By Friday, I'm just gonna
Be a zombie.
Kurt Cobain. Give myself some extra caffeinated buckshot. What do they call it? The 5-hour energy shot? Is that what it's called? Wonderful. I take this with me.
Okay. So I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna do this quest. That's all I got. I don't have a pen. Oh. Yeah, you might want those too. So, there's this elite that walks up and down this road, and I've probably killed him like 10 times now. And then now I have a quest for him.
Vitamins, spare me and multi.
Spare me and a multi.
Roadhog. Now, I'm not saying his nerf wasn't justified, because it was. The hitbox was way too problematic overall. It led to a ton less fun on the other side, the other team. But when you decide instead to create Bridget afterwards, which, yeah, just maybe you went a little too hard with the identity part of that one when you chose to identify her with the pronouns war and crime. But despite that, creating a good character identity is important as it affects the gameplay loop and lets players gravitate towards things that are not part of their playstyle. This will create, while maybe not balanced games, fun games. However, in the pursuit of balance, sometimes that identity you created will be compromised. I think the nerfs that Roadhog received were justified and didn't really ruin the character. He is still who he is, as they just reined in the jank. But my heart...
Well, yeah. I mean, like, it's okay. It's a matter of degree. Like, if something is a little bit better for a while, I think that's okay. But at a certain point, I think that you're not going to have fun playing a game if every single person is playing Roadhog on every single team. And, for example, like, if Roadhog is just the de facto best tank, and every single time you see a high-end game, everybody is playing Roadhog, that's not fun for people that like Reinhardt, people that like Zarya, people that like fucking Diva, or any of these other ones. So making things unbalanced in order to like create a fun fantasy, you have to always remember that there's always the person on the other side of that fantasy who in a lot of cases is not having fun. Yeah, Zarya. Yeah, remember Zarya was like fucking insanely good whenever I was playing Overwatch.
Something going on over here.
That's why they nerfed her. They nerfed her in 2 different ways. So, is it fun for the other team to queue and to just get farmed by Zarya? Probably not. And is it fun for the other team's tank to feel like I have to play Zarya or I'm setting myself at a competitive disadvantage? Probably not. And whenever you look at the top 500 tanks back then, and like nearly every single one was Zarya.
Alright, let's gangbang this fucking piece of shit.
Well,
get him. Fucking get him.
You know, like that's
boom, boom. Come on.
It paints a very interesting picture.
Goes out to the fucking Doomfist fans out there. I don't pretend to know how to play that man or anything, but I don't even know what I'm looking at anymore. What have they done? There was a problem with him, with Doomfist and how he operated in the game, and changing him may have solved that problem, but it gutted his identity in the process. Shit, let's walk down the damn stairs to the olden days of League, right? Aurelian Sol was a baller space dragon with an extremely unique kit when you first...
I think that really it's more important to make sure that bad stuff isn't in the game than to have everything in the game and have something that's super overpowered. Because every single day that something that's really overpowered is in the game, that is more people that are going to stop playing the game. But like both of them are bad because there's also people who like Doomfist is their favorite character and they can't play their favorite character, so they play. Like both of them are bad.
Came out utilizing rotating stars of various.
Just keep fucking them. Just keep fucking them. They want to keep respawning. Keep fucking them.
Too close to your enemy and finding ways to maintain that distance. It was a super weird concept, but a fun one. The problem was that despite him not being incredible,
Graveyard's like
pro
right there.
players
That's
were
the
able to
problem.
use him to such a degree where even though the majority of the population couldn't use him effectively, it made him catch some nerfs. But instead of maintaining that feeling of playing Aurelion Sol, they gave him a massive rework that now makes him feel like a shell of what he was. The fun that we had with the identity of Aurelion Sol was axed.
One of the goals was to enhance his dragon theme. And what do dragons do? Well, they breathe fire, of course.
I find that more and more games will have balancing problems of some sort, and the balancing has tends to kill the identity that made it fun in the first place.
That's probably true. That, like, a lot of times whenever you balance something, the pendulum does probably swing. It does swing too hard. Where like something can be like really high performing and then it gets nerfed and it's
For example, because I'm still mad about it, the Tyranids in Warhammer, they had an ability of revolving around their adaptability. That's like their thing. The ability to adapt to the enemy they're fighting and have it shore up their weaknesses. But because Tyranids were too powerful, they forced you to have it written into your list before you even saw your opponent's army. You know, so you can no longer adapt to your opponent. That's literally the point of Tyranids, and it really wasn't the reason why the faction was crushing people, because they still are, but they lost that fun Tyranid style identity to them. Perfect balance in a game is always something that's desired, but I feel like that it might not actually be a good thing.
I think that really what this video is more about is like the difference between whenever balance removes the identity of a character. Because like the character's identity is imbalanced by the nature of the way that it's designed, and because of that it gets nerfed. It's really like identity should triumph before balance more than fun.
I want to argue for the opposite. Obviously, moving any major outliers in sports and things that are so game-breaking and need to be hotfixed, but the unbalanced game, I think, makes it in a way more fun, so long as the identity is preserved.
And also so long as the balance passes happen regularly. Like, whenever you have 30 different guns in COD, there's going to be the guns that the main pro players use. Like, that's just the way the games work. However, it's like, if it's always like this and then everybody's using it and that's it, that's where the problems come in. So it's about making sure that the balance passes happen regularly so people can switch up what they're using.
Yeah, but let's go back to Titanfall 2. Titanfall 2 is one of the best FPS games of all time. It's a gem
I've actually never played
of a
this
title.
one.
It is not balanced in the slightest. And not in the, like, oh, some of the best games of our childhood, Modern Warfare 2, weren't balanced at all. But, like, back then, you can kind of get away with worse balance because times were different.
Yeah,
Titanfall 2 is not that old, and it is... it is not balanced. Argue to me that this game is balanced, and I'll respond with a Jesus photo speaking the words of Stimcar and Monarch Titan. But if we take, let's say, Big Daddy Scorch, objectively the worst Titan in the game, and yes, you know I'm right, I don't care how much you love him, he's objectively the weakest, he still serves a function. Scorch is area denial and short-range burst damage. It's really hard to get it in, fundamentally, because in a game like this, there'll just be certain maps and scenarios that are very long range, very open, and he just won't get his damage in. But he wasn't changed to suit those means. His kit wasn't adjusted in a way to make up for that weakness. He was given buffs here and there to help him out, but he is still fundamentally Scorch and had a diehard group of players exactly for that reason. Despite being the worst Titan still in the game, he wasn't worse by a massive margin, and
This is like Doomfist in Overwatch 2. I don't know how many fucking people... I've seen a lot of people play Doomfist, and it's like Doomfist, the way that he plays is very different than the way a lot of the other tanks play. And if you like the gameplay of Doomfist, you're going to want to play Doomfist in this. So I think that's a good thing.
Incredibly fun, and he maintained his
Even if he's
identity
bad.
without having to massively rework the character, the Titan, whatever. How about
People
another
can play it the way
option?
they
A
want.
metagame.
It's the same as like Bastion, for example, in Overwatch, or, you know, he used a really good example, which was Tracer. Tracer is, it doesn't matter how good or bad Tracer is, that gameplay style, people will like playing the gameplay style. Or like, yeah, Torbjorn or something like that.
Can be created entirely due to the aspect of imbalance. Top tier weapons or characters reign supreme, which can change the landscape of the game itself. This leads to unintended side effects, like certain weapons or characters that normally weren't that good finding a place because they are a counterpick against that OP thing.
Yeah.
My favorite gun in Destiny 2 is Malfeasance. It's a gorgeous hand cannon with a trait where 5 consecutive shots will detonate 5 explosives attached to them. Now, this naturally makes it pretty good for some PvE scenarios, but pretty bad
So it's
for
the carbine and the
PvP,
needle
where
at the
enemies
same
tend to
time.
die far before those 5 shots. However, Warlocks use their ability called a Rift to give them a little bit of extra damage or healing, and they would put on this fancy helmet called the Stag. The Stag would make them significantly tankier in that Rift and allow them to take fights that were overall just, they really should not have taken those fights. They would have died much easier. I found a place for Malfeasance dealing with those Stag Warlocks. The meta evolved further where tons of overshields utilized by Titans were prevalent. Malfeasance.
Oh, this is a good point, because like what a good example of this in WoW is Demon Hunters. If you're a Demon Hunter, anybody who's a Demon Hunter can get 1800 rating in Arena. But simultaneously, almost nobody can get 2800 in Arena, because Demon Hunters were really fucking good at like mid-range combat, like mid-MMR gameplay, but like really high-end players were not able to like really
Watch me kill this fucking gnome
utilize them in the
named
same way.
Kimberly.
They didn't scale as much.
Oh, he's a
And I
rogue.
think that's
He's sneaking
it's
around. I see him. I
always
see
hard
him.
to balance something, like again with Overwatch.
Fuck you.
It's like, how
Fuck
do
you.
balance
Go away.
something like Widowmaker,
I've
for
been.
example?
It's just constant with this shit, man.
You know, has a lot
Constant.
of movement, and she can kill a target.
Boom.
How can you balance something like that to where it's fun to play for people that are bronze, and it's also fun to play for people who are grandmaster? It's like impossible. And it's like I never.
It's harder to
see
kill these
people,
rats
whenever
than
I
it
was
is
playing in
the
bronze,
fucking gnomes.
I never saw anybody play Widowmaker, but like whenever I watch higher end games, you see them all the time.
I'm still waiting
So
for
it's always
this.
hard to, like,
As soon as
know
I do this
where the
quest,
balance
I'm done for the night. I'm waiting for
something
this
that's
fucking
really good at low levels or something really good at high levels, because I think it's bad really if the balance part
lieutenant
is one or the other. It kind of has
to
be.
come by that I've
And
seen
just
like
makes it
20
really hard
times
to
now.
balance
And
it.
of course, like I
It's really
called
hard
it,
to balance it to where,
as soon
you
as
know,
I'm
it's
looking
easy to
for
play
him,
and good for noobs,
not gonna
but
be
at the
able to
same
find
time,
him.
It's fun for serious players.
Was an excellent choice against them, who would get overly greedy and then find themselves insta-gibbed by the explosions. Tons of roaming supers making their way into the game. I use it to deal with them from range. Build crafting, both in co-op and competitive games, can wildly change due to imbalance, and that keeps the game feeling fresh and promoting discussion. They say that all press is good press, and when there is a rallying hatred for something overpowered in a game, or at least discussion around it, the game is firmly in people's minds. Hell, memes are
I am not an advocate of a game being bad and everybody talking about it being bad being a positive for the game. I do not believe
there he
this.
is.
I
Yep,
don't think
there he
this
is.
true for New World, and people still think New World has problems that the game hasn't had for 6 months. I think this has been a problem for WoW. It's a problem.
we're gonna
for
set up an
PoE as
ambush
well.
here.
It's like they said, oh, well, you don't get loot anymore in the game. Well, they changed that, and like, yeah, it might not be as good as it was, but some of the changes to loot were good decisions. So it's like whenever people are talking about a game and being negative about it, I don't think that this is a good thing always. And I think that in many cases it's not a good thing because people get an impression of the game, and that impression and that first impression and people talking about it makes everything
created regarding that imbalance, which keeps people talking. If everything is the same, perfect balance is achieved, I think it just ends up being a bit boring to think about. Malfeasance is a pretty mediocre PvP pick, but it has its place and it has something.
I feel like that argument kind of falls apart whenever you have something something like, obviously chess is the best example of this, but even there are games that are very well balanced. People play the tournament now. They just keep developing different metas, etc.
I need more mana.
For that, I love it more than any other meta weapon. Same reason why I love like Swords +1.
I've always hated the word
Crazy
meta.
hectic gunfight. Yeah, your time to kill
I think
might be
people
something
that
specific, but that's a
use the
perfect time to
I think
kill.
people that use the word meta constantly are no better than the people that collect Happy Meal toys. They're both bottom barrel scum of the earth virgins.
But don't you know that's the new meta?
What if you're missing shots? I got too many barrels. I'm not going to miss my shots. Now, despite all of this, limits should obviously be put in place. There are dials that can be tweaked with all values in games, and they should be if it helps achieve a better semblance of balance overall, so long as they don't step on the toes of what made it fun in the first place.
Now, I think that's a really good point. Like, whenever balance comes in, this is what I think he's really talking about in this video, is whenever balance removes identity. It's like this character is no longer fun for the same reasons or fun at all, because in order to make this game fun or this character fun, it's just got to be imbalanced. Talking about homogenization. Yeah, exactly.
I'm sure right now in your mind, right, you could think of a time in insert game here where the thing you loved had to get nerfed or buffed in some way that ruined why you loved it. My poor Stockholm Syndrome League of Legends fans can think of many a reworked champions that probably go into this list. And hey, if you want to tell me about some of them, please, you know, put it down there, you know. I know this has been sort of like a poorly formulated topic, but I worry that people online push changes quicker than should be made. Yet no game developer in the history of—
I disagree with that. I think that it's important to have a change
You
happen
do whatever
as soon
you
as
want.
possible.
Just make sure your
Because
hometown
every
make you
single
dinner,
day that
etc.,
somebody is
etc.
playing the game and there's something that's massively broken in the game is a day that a lot of people are going to stop playing it. Because like they're like, well, fuck this game sucks. I don't play this game anymore because it's bad. Like obviously, it depends on like where the degrees are. But I think that there are like these like high, like these like high outliers, like really bad circumstances of balance, that they should just immediately fix them as soon as possible, and the sooner it's fixed, the better.
Working has ever said, yeah, guys, I think we should definitely make our game less fun so it can be more balanced. Nobody ever says that. Everyone who makes games know that the fun is number one. But I can imagine—
I actually think that fun and balance are many times the same thing. So like, for example, like ice cream and steak, you probably think both of these foods are great. You know, many people like both ice cream and steak. Now, would you make a decision to play ice cream or to eat ice cream or steak in the exact same circumstance? No, most of the time people go and they choose that they want to eat ice cream or steak, right? For different circumstances. So really making it to where different things are balanced in different ways doesn't mean that they're all the same. But if there's one thing that's better for all circumstances or most circumstances—
Yeah, you know, there was a time where League of Legends, the champions and that were more unique and it had a more unique identity and playstyle than Heroes and Dota. And now they're just all the fucking same.
Design of the game and the entire way that people play the game is built around one thing. And I'll give you guys an example. Like in Elden Ring, we were going to do an Elden Ring PvP tournament. And whenever we were going to do this, we decided that we were going to ban a lot of the like really overperforming weapons. And some people were saying like, oh, that's not fair. You know, let people have fun. And what I said to this is that this is not fun. Because if you have these weapons in the game, anybody who wants to win will use these weapons. And it's not fun to go into it, a game that has over 300 weapons, and only 7 of them are viable. Like, it just sucks. So that's what I think the problem is here. Is that, like, whenever you have something that is so imbalanced or a meta is so defined that anybody not playing inside of that meta is just handicapping themselves. Like, you don't want to have people that play something that handicaps themselves. And I think that in that case, fun is balance.
Hold on.
Because nobody has fun going in there getting crushed whenever they just don't have a chance. It's not enjoyable to play.
Sometimes when the online discourse is just fervent, When every tweet is hit with a nerf X instantaneously, level heads might weaken, and a quick fix is implemented just to get those.
We're talking about Sombra. Here's the problem with Sombra. Is that the class fantasy of Sombra isn't fun to play against. Like, regardless of whatever you want to say, like, you know, oh, well, personally, I don't find it fun to have to constantly worry about a character that is invisible that will make it to where I...
Alright, I'm getting off here. Toodles.